Hi, Josh Barker with Josh Barker Real Estate. Thank you for checking out our market update for the month of December 2023. Let's go ahead and kick off that sales report by looking at the multiple listing service sales report actually for the month of November. We'll start off by just looking at homes sold. There was 176 properties that closed escrow last month in the multiple listing service. Now that is actually up 7.3% compared to last year when we were at 164 closings in the same month. Again, in our previous market updates, we suggested that those numbers year over year are beginning to intersect, and in this case, they overlapped, which is really good to see. The next thing to look at is just homes pending for the month. At the end of November, we finished at 187 pendings. That's also up 5% compared to last year when there was 178 pendings in the month of November. So again, a nice overlap of transactions compared to last year. The next thing to look at is just total homes for sale. Now this has changed. Right now we're sitting at approximately 689 properties for sale. This is down roughly 14% compared to last year when our inventories were averaging 802. So again, there's a lot of property owners right now that are enjoying living in a home with an interest rate that's averaging around 3%. And they're very reluctant to want to relinquish that interest rate for today's rates that are averaging in that 7.5% range. And so obviously that's causing inventories to be a little lower year over year. The next thing to look at is just our average sales prices. So this is very interesting. In the month of November, we finished at $408,000 as our average selling price in the market. Now that is up approximately 10% compared to last year when the number was $370 in the very same month. So think about this for a minute. Last year's interest rates were averaging around 6.5%. This year, they're averaging around 7.5%. Last year, the average sales price in the market was again $370,000. This year, it's $408,000 in the same month. So interest rates went up, but the average sales price went up, which is pretty alarming to look at. The next thing to look at is just interest rates overall. Again, we're averaging around 7.5%. If you go back a year ago, it was about 6.5%. Right now, the Federal Reserve is looking at the market itself and saying, hey, inflation's down. Most recent report was 3.2%, which means that they don't have the same urgency to raise interest rates anymore. And in some cases, experts are predicting that at some point next year, we're going to start to see the interest rate environment coming down, which could be a positive sign for purchasing power for buyers in the real estate market. Next thing to look at is just new construction. Right now, if you looked in the multiple listing service, you would see that there's approximately 25 new homes that are completed for sale in the multiple listing service. If you go back, over the last couple of years, we were normally averaging between 50 and 70 new homes finished for sale in the market. And so obviously our new construction inventory is way down. What you'll notice that it's those larger home builders like D.R. Horton, for example, in our local market, that's producing a lot of the new speculation construction. However, some of our local builders are still building, but they're building normally when they already have a client in mind. And so they're not speculating, they're actually pacing with existing demand. And so this is something that we're going to be watching in the future, is just how many new homes can we actually introduce to market. There's going to be some challenges for contractors because of the cost of construction. Interest rate environment is high, demand's a little lower, and so we're all going to have to watch that together. Next thing to see is just the rental market. Right now, it's still projected at around 6% as the vacancy rate, which means that only about 6% of all properties for rent are actually vacant waiting for tenants. However, that's a little different when you look at the short-term rental market, like the VRBO market, because in those cases, the rents are a little softer, days on market are extending. Some of those homes are actually transitioning to either the resale market to be sold, or they're being pulled off for long-term rentals, or in some cases, they're just relinquishing them altogether. So we'll have to wait to see how that plays out. But right now, the overall rental market is very strong. Next thing to look at is just foreclosures. Foreclosures right now are estimated at 176 properties in Shasta County that are single family, that are in some stage in a foreclosure process. Now, just to give you an idea, over the years, we've seen numbers that were much higher than this. This is still low, but what's happening is that obviously the pandemic is over, the moratorium is passed. A lot of those loan modification programs that were available are not available at the same level as they were in the past. And so we're starting to see some foreclosures resuming in the local market, but it's not anything to be alarmed about. The last thing to look at is just insurance overall. Insurance continues to be a large challenge throughout the state of California. Right now, it's estimated that between 300 and 400% increases are not uncommon when you're not in the city of Redding's infill lots. And so what that means is, like, if you're in the city of Reading right now and you back up to a greenbelt, you might be looking at a higher insurance premium. If you're outside of the city and you're out in the country right now, in many cases, these are the types of properties that are facing higher insurance rates. And it doesn't appear that there's going to be any easing in the near future, but hopefully longer term, the insurance market will find a way to stabilize and we'll begin to see rates that are either going to moderate or at the very least stop going up. So something that we'll be watching closely. If you have any other questions about the real estate market here in Shasta County, again, just know we're always here to help. I want to thank all of you for taking your time with us today. Have a great day.